Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Group Chat, the number one podcast in the world. If you don't know, Drama is out today, and he is unfortunately suffering from PTSS, post-traumatic samurai syndrome, which could possibly be the greatest story ever told on this podcast. I mean, I had people asking me, no way, this is fucking real. And if you haven't listened, go listen to the last episode. It is insane. And if you heroic effort that Drama put in.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's just bridging cultures. There's so many good things you could take from it. You have a young Pakistani store clerk.
Hero.
White tatted TV star coming together, joining forces with samurai swords
to fight
defeat
crime. And
that's like the start of a movie. Like, isn't that like Stuber, the one with Kumail, where he picks up someone and they have to like, he picks up like some sort of crime guy and they're like, he just gets into the whole crime world.
I've seen that movie. That movie's funny. What's interesting is I was talking to Josh from New Republic about the story, and he goes, you know, I'm a black belt and I actually know how to use a samurai. And let me tell you, versus a gun, it's the absolute worst thing to actually do. Because what are you going to do? Chop off their arm? They're going to shoot you. What are you going to stab them in the chest? They're going to shoot you. So he's, as someone who's a trained samurai warrior, he's saying that it's pretty useless weapon.
You never want to bring a knife.
He's like, you're better off with the bat.
Yeah.
You're better off with the bat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, if you're ever in a situation.
So maybe Drama should do his societal service, drive back to the market, donate 3 bats.
Yeah.
Instead of the 3 samurai swords.
And give this guy a fighting chance. And we're going to kick off today's episode with a very special, very entertaining interview with the North American president of Hublot. Yes, that Hublot from the Jay-Z song. Jean-Francois is here joining us live from Miami. Live for us. Yeah. And it's an incredible interview because he is a Cathy. He is a fellow alumnus. There's a lot of incredible stories in this episode. And I think you guys are going to find this very interesting about the luxury market, specifically the luxury watch market. So if you made a bunch of money day trading, so Pete doesn't need Doge to go to the moon. He needs to go to Mars so he can get a Hublot.
Even with the discount. It'll still.
The interview is incredible. It's informative. Talked about luxury. A lot of good jokes. A lot of great content. It was one of the more fun interviews we've done.
Yeah. So let's get into that and hitting all the big topics of the day. Stay tuned. There's a new tequila brand in town. Find out who it's from. And we got a good shout out. So let's get into it.
And we have a Tom Brady conspiracy theory.
Oh, wow. Tom Brady conspiracy theory.
This man knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, Group Chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
All right, Cathys, we have a very special guest all the way from Miami, another Miami interview.
And another Harvard man.
So this is going to be an incredible interview for many reasons. But first of all, want to welcome Jean-Francois Sberro to the podcast. He is the North American president of Hublot, a luxury watch brand out of, you're out of Miami, but it's based out of Switzerland.
Correct. Correct.
And you know, he listens to the podcast. So I got to give the backstory. I met Jean-Francois in Miami of 2019 Art Basel. Our mutual, your colleague Anish and a friend of mine, Anish Mawani, invited me to a lunch at the Wynwood Walls, which, as someone that's gone for many years to Art Basel and gone to Miami, he says lunch at the Wynwood Walls, which I was like, where the hell do you have lunch in the Wynwood Walls? I've never seen any food. These guys took over the entire area and literally put tables in the middle of like the kind of the art center. And obviously Dom Perignon was flowing. whatever other brands you guys have. The Tequila brand was flowing, and we got to experience an amazing afternoon and talk with Shepard Fairey.
Yeah.
Which is
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then after that, I believe you started listening to the podcast.
100%.
And you completed your first marathon over the weekend, it looked like. Was that your first ever marathon?
No, it was my 8th marathon.
Oh, 8. Oh, wow. Okay, damn.
It's way ahead of you.
Yeah, way ahead of me.
Where do you stand, D? How many have you completed?
I've done maybe 5-6 half marathons and only one full marathon.
Okay, so we will get one on the list. Want to do together? Maybe LA. I didn't do LA. I try to change city every year to discover some other places in North America, and LA is still on my list. So maybe we'll do that together at some point. Maybe after the Grand Running Club 2022.
Yeah.
So I actually want to start, if you can just give background, because we have listeners who can afford Hublot watches, and we have listeners that probably have never heard of what Hublot is. So we know it's a super luxury brand and just is dominated for years, but explain Hublot and how did you become running North America? That's like an insane position.
Yeah. So obviously my academical background helped a lot in my...
So just for the listeners, he actually has a Harvard flag in his Zoom in the background. Let's just leave it at that. He's a Harvard man. You got the flag.
And I guess the Harvard, the class of, 2003 or 2004, the one that you attended, I see going every day. Yeah. Now I'm part of it. And I guess that's the beauty of, the America we experienced in the last 4 years. You can just, carve out your own reality. And as long as you belong to it, that's it, no matter whether I never went to Harvard, I never paid tuition, I never followed the class. Now I'm part of the crew and on my resume, so why not?
This is pretty much the Harvard alumni show.
Yeah, this should be the official podcast of Harvard alumni.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then maybe we can have Anish, our mutual friend, because he actually attended Harvard.
Yeah.
But now we're all the same, so...
I wonder if Anish is offended that we just made a mockery of his alma mater.
No, we Harvard men have a strong sense of humor. So I'm very confident about that. But before Harvard, I graduated from a French business school and started my career at LVMH in the early 2000s. Really, so I would say at the beginning of the boom of the watch industry. Initially, I joined a brand called Tag Heuer, which probably has a lot of resonance in North America. Entry-level price point of luxury, probably $2,000 of average price point, but a brand that has mass appeal and which resonates probably a lot with you guys. Up in 2028, LVMH, which you talked a lot about, but which is the Louis Vuitton group, acquired Hublot, which was a up-and-coming watch brand at the time. And then they moved me from one company to the other. So at that time, still in Switzerland. Hublot at that time was a very small company. It was just turned around. The company has been created in 1980 and remained very confidential and small between 1980 to 2005. Honestly, probably $30 million of sales worldwide. So really nothing. And half of the business, for some reason, was done in Spain because somebody succeeded to put a watch on the wrist of the King of Spain.
Wow.
But the brand was really not going anywhere, was posting a small loss or barely staying at break even. And in 2005, the owner actually got one of the, I would say, veteran of the watch industry, an incredible guy named Jean-Claude Bieber. And the guy came to the company and turn it around in the matter of months. So he changed the name. Hublot was before the name of one of the product line. He changed the price positioning. He killed most of the lines that were not working, changed the price points, and basically nailed one model, which was called the Big Bang, an incredible watch, which is still one of our bestseller 15 years after, still today. And from that point on, the brand grew exponentially. So in the span of 3 years, the brand went from 30 million to almost 200 million of sales.
Wow.
And from break-even to, let's say, 20% of profitability. At that point, it came on the radar of LVMH, who took it over. And since then, the brand continued to enjoy a huge amount of growth. Last year, the year pre-COVID, we reached almost $100 million in sales, incredible profitability. And then for the last 3 years, we've been part of the top 10 of the biggest watch brands in the world. So an incredible accomplishment. Obviously, the price point is quite high. So we are, let's say, a niche brand. The average price point is about $22,000 worldwide. So quite an expensive.
Pete needs Dogecoin to go up much more.
Yeah. We're just hoping this guy would just ship a couple over to us. I wanted to spend on my Dogecoin money.
Dogecoin has to go to like $8 for Pete.
Dogecoin has to go to like Mars for me to afford that.
We can hook you up, Pete. So don't worry.
How many walking around?
We can use a good spokesperson for Wisconsin. We didn't.
Yes. I can do like one or two. I think that's
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, absolutely. With John and you, I think we are set and in Wisconsin, you know. And I would say the cover in the US, it maybe really goes back to 2010 or 11. Really, I will say, as silly as it sounds, but really what put us on the map here on a big level was Jay-Z, right?
Yeah.
About Hublot in Otis. New watch alert Hublot.
Yeah.
It was something major, obviously, about the power of rappers and.
And was that organic? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, as organic as it gets, but eventually Jay-Z ended up with a sponsoring contract.
Okay.
So, let's say it was an investment on his side. So, but
sure.
Organic, and then we tried to make a splash in the market by partnering both with the Lakers, Anand, so I think something close to your heart.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
And Kobe was our ambassador as white, so many memories with Kobe. He was an amazing human being.
Oh, so you actually got to spend time with him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Any good Kobe stories?
Doing wine tasting in Napa Valley for the release of the Kobe Vino, because we used to say that it was aging like fine wine.
Yeah.
Into a Napa Valley reserve and sip wine all afternoon long with Kobe and some final customers was pretty priceless.
Oh, that's awesome.
Doing another huge event in LA in a mansion, actually bringing Black Mamba to the events.
Yeah.
And putting one over his neck.
Oh my God.
See a lot of fun memories. So it was amazing. And then on the East Coast, we built around the Miami Heat at the time. And then in addition to that, because we liked a franchise layer and then a player layer on top of that, we had Dwayne Wade as an ambassador for many, many years. And especially all the years where the Miami Heat were literally on fire. At the times we were a sponsor of the franchise, we had courtside seats to the best games that the Heats had to perform and enjoy in those years. So I recall, I came to the market in 2012, and a couple of months after, it was the first ring of this amazing team with Bosch, Wade, and LeBron. So all those partnerships really put us on the map, and we grew up quite a bit from there, up to go in the top 10 of the biggest luxury brands worldwide. And since then, we are trying to crack the top 5 of the biggest watch brands in the world. And that's why I think I'm really happy to partake in the number 1 podcast in the world.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you guys just might as well say you're the number 1 watch in the world. Nobody knows what the number 1.
Nobody checks.
You just said Kobe, LeBron, D-Wade. That's number 1 to me.
Yeah, Jay-Z. You got Jay-Z, Kobe, and D-Wade. I mean,
that's all I need to hear.
Yeah, that sounds like number 1.
Absolutely.
So what? Just for listeners and my clarification, what are the top 5 watches in the world today?
So the watch industry, what you have to understand first is when you look at price point over, let's say, $10,000, so probably Rolex and over, 95% of the watches are coming from Switzerland. So this is a market which is ultra dominated by Switzerland. So they tend to exclude new players. So I would say the Apple of those world, the Garmin, the Samsung, that are producing now smartwatches or connected watches in a number that are incredible. But they don't really look at that segment of the market because it's really entry-level price point and for a certain number of reasons. But I will say those players set aside because you have to look at it this way. Apple now is producing 50% more of all the Swiss watch industry combined.
Oh my God.
And they've been doing watches for the last 5 years. So
that's the Apple effect.
It's a tsunami, it's incredible. But the 5 biggest watch worlds in the watch brands in the world are obviously Rolex, then Omega, Cartier, and I will say worldwide you can put Longines and probably Tissot or Tissot.
Got it.
So those will be the 5 biggest. If you only look at luxury brands, you probably put Patek Philippe and then Audemars Piguet into the mix. And then you have those 5 brands that are probably above $1 billion in terms of sales.
Interesting. So Paul Ripke, since you listen to the pod, he's a friend of the pod. He just did a clubhouse room with IWC. Should we kick him off because we're Hublot men now?
Yeah.
I kick off, Paul first because he's extremely nice. I remember Pete fat shaming him because he was doing a lot of bike and still very slim. And the guy took it really straight, didn't complain at all. So you cannot kick him. And now that he's a star on Clubhouse, it's not the time, to keep him away. But no, IWC is an incredible brand as well. Swiss as well, from the German Swiss part of the country. And they're probably brand number 8 worldwide. So a little below $1 billion in sales.
Wow.
And, incredible products as well, even if they belong to another conglomerate. They belong to Richemont, which is a conglomerate that owns Cartier, Pulse, and obviously IWC and a couple of other brands. But in the US, Hublot is bigger than IWC, so we'll stick to that.
Yeah, and so for you guys, when did the Otis Jay-Z thing happen? What year was that? 2011. And then after that, you get a lot of awareness from young people because that's probably that year. I remember for the first time hearing about Hublot just someone that doesn't really pay attention to the watch market. And then when I saw Jay-Z talk about it, I was like, oh my God, this is going to happen. Because I started seeing it on the wrists of young people in LA. That was my gauge that it became a very popular brand. How do you convince a customer that's in the luxury watch market? Is the average customer who shops at Hublot someone that has half a dozen luxury watches? Or because it's not like a Rolex customer where they may only have that one Rolex.
Correct. So what we see is that Hublot is a very polarizing brand. So let's say, Hublot is to the watch industry what you are to the podcast industry. Something who's polarizing, people. That's who we are.
So the watch is getting drunk on Sundays, screaming Clubhouse all day.
So now, you have to understand that the Swiss industry has been around since basically the mid-19th century. Some brands exist since 1850 or 1870, and Hublot is born basically the same years as you did, 1980. And I'm from 1981, so we're about the same age. When you are a brand that's young, making it so far in the ranking of the biggest watch brand in the world, you are disrupting the status quo. And disrupting the status quo is never something that people allow you to do easily, or they're never happy to see, one brand breaking through the ranks. The watch industry was dominating until very recently by a wholesale distribution model. It will mean that the brands will not have contact with the final customers, but in between, you'll have your traditional jewelry stores. Those stores have all but one interest, or their main interest is maintaining the best possible relationship with every brand. It means that if they distribute 10 brands, and those are the 10 biggest watch brands, they need to reflect in their sales, basically, the same ranking as those brands are in the world. Otherwise, one brand, let's say IWC is number 8 worldwide. If in this multi-brand retailer, IWC is number 10, then the IWC rep is going to come and say, why do I am number 10? I should be number 8, according to the worldwide ranking. And so the multi-brand, to maintain a good relationship with all the brands, they have to maintain the status quo. We were a young brand growing like crazy. And so all the retailers did not necessarily have an interest into pushing our brands anymore. So we had to develop our own network of boutique and eventually be one of the first brands that gave up the wholesale distribution model to go into retail and open our own network of stores. And that's what allowed us to connect with the final customers. And at the end, probably not be their first watch. So to finally answer your questions, because we are a polarizing brand, it's very rare that somebody will start their collection of watch by purchasing a Hublot. But once they know a little bit about watches and maybe they have a Rolex and maybe they feel more comfortable and they want to venture off the beaten track, most of the time they're going to settle on us because we are, trendy, we are edgy, we are hip. And then what we often see that people tend to settle on our brand. And once they are in our universe, they tend to get 1, 5, 10, 15 or 20 watches.
Wow.
Our business model is also very built on the limited edition. So we did limited edition, like I said, with Jay-Z, with the Heat, with the Lakers, with Kobe, with Dwayne Wade, with Floyd Mayweather, with, I can name, you name Shepard Fairey, we did was with Shepard Fairey. We have a lot of limited edition, but they are done maybe in 100 pieces worldwide. So extremely, extremely selective. And people just tend to collect and always find something else. So we tend to feed the appetite of the customers, but are very rarely the first one or the first watch to start a collection, even if now things are changing a little more because we tend to be a very established player.
So one thing that was always told to me, ever since I was an adult and knew people who were into luxury watches, was that watches hold value and actually appreciate. And if you buy luxury watches, even if you pony up and spend whatever the amount is, you can always resell it. And I guess the question is, in the last 12 months, we've seen all these new asset classes appreciate. Obviously, the stock market, cryptocurrency, baseball cards. Has there been a sudden surge in watch buying because it is now perceived as just another asset class, like store your value here? Is that a trend, or am I just kind of talking?
your chain of thoughts can apply somehow to the watch industry. So you used to say on the pod that like the art market is really done to wash money,
yep,
basically, and I can't recall the other one, but the thing is that for the watch, it's one of those small items where you can have a lot of value stored in a very tiny item. And so for a lot of time, for example, in China, watches, but especially Swiss watches, but of any brands, were really used as an object that will be considered as a gift / potentially corruption item. Yep. Because it would be easy to trade. And so that also at some point was inflated the watch industry quite a bit, probably in the year 2000, up to the year 2014, 15, because before the Chinese government struck down on corruption. But we've seen that for all the time. Now, in the last 12 to 18 months, what we've seen is that a certain amount of speculation around a couple of different products. So what we've seen is that most of the demand focused more than ever around just a couple of brands. I would say probably 6 to 7 winning brands, probably Rolex, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, Richard Mille, Hublot, mostly those plus a couple, but more and more of a concentration around just a couple of brands, and even within those brands, just a couple of models. So now if you look at Rolex or Patek Philippe, you're going to have just a couple of references where potentially you're going to have up to 1.5 years to 2 years of demand and waiting list just to get one model. And those models are probably 2 or 3 times the price on the secondary market. That's what you will get at retail. And it's triggered by speculators. And again, since even at a brand like Rolex, which is the number one watch brand in the world, they are totally, their distribution is totally wholesale. So you still have an intermediary between the brands and the product and the final customers. And that's where the speculators go and, focus a lot of the demand. And that's triggering a lot of problems because it's creating a bubble around just a certain number of watches. And what's interesting, just to finish on that, one of the most sought after watch at the moment is a watch from Patek Philippe. It's called the 5711. It's a beautiful model, very simple. It's a non-chrono, just a 3-hands watch in steel. It's one of the fast-selling watch in the industry, and it's extremely expensive. And now the company has decided to stop it.
I saw that.
It's stopping your most iconic and best-selling products. So we'll see whether that's genius or not so smart. Yeah. But they took a lot of, I think, the decision based on what you say. We want just to slow down a little bit the pace of production, deflate maybe a little bit of the bubble, and they remove that piece from their collection. So for the moment, the effect is the opposite. This piece is even going higher into price, but we'll see in the long run. But
how much is that watch?
So now it's impossible. Honestly, if you go on the first, it's impossible to get. If you go on the secondary market, you probably don't get it below $70,000 to $90,000 if you are able to get it, which is 2 to 3 times the price that you can get it on the at the retail store. And again, it's a steel watch.
Yeah.
Oh no,
that's crazy.
It's crazy. Really, really crazy.
And where's the resale market happening for watches? What platform are people using, or is it private dealers?
No, so it was a lot private dealers. Now the tech boom really shifted, reshuffled the cards totally on that, and you had a lot of players that filled that gap. So a lot of I would say non-authorized dealers just invaded that space, and so basically the model was putting up a website, just getting all the pictures from all the different products from all the different brands, putting everything online, most of the time offering a small discounts as an incentive, trying to lock a sale, and then eventually go back to the real world by calling any retailer in the US or anywhere in the world, and then sourcing the watch and eventually selling to a final customer.
Wow.
That's the way. Now every brand's trying to go back after those brands, because obviously it's not good to see all those non-authorized dealer occupying that space. Everything that you have as a luxury brand is basically your products and your image. So you have some more official players that are trying to do the same job, but for the moment you don't necessarily have one player that has consolidated the market. Every group is trying, and probably the secondary market will experience further consolidation in the next 5 to 10 years, but it's still a little bit behind a lot of industries that you can be familiar with, and even then in the luxury market. So we're a little bit behind in that moment.
And how has the last 12 months been for your guys' business? Like, I mean, obviously wealthy people seem to have gotten way richer, so that's good for you guys.
Yeah, no, it's good. Somehow, the rich are crisis proof, at least the ultra rich, the 1% of the 1%, they're always going to be okay, as we've seen. However, you cannot necessarily sustain a business only on the 1% of the 1%. So you still need that upper middle class to be able to generate a good portion of your sales. And as much as, you know, we want to lead a digital life, but I mean, by that stage, after 11 months of, COVID life, I think we kind of all fed up of that digital life, and we're all craving to going back to somehow a physical life. But there is a heavy component of feeling, emotion, contact, relationship. And I think that our industry doesn't translate 100% into the digital world. So e-commerce is still representing a fairly low portion of our sales. The example that I like to give, because we've been the watch partner of Ferrari for the last 10 years, is would you purchase a Ferrari car over a website? You know, I know you're comfortable doing that with a Tesla. Would you do that with a Ferrari? I know you need that emotional connection. Maybe you need to test drive, you need to touch, you need to change the options. And so for us, it's still a small portion. The 3 months of lockdown plus social unrest, so we had to keep our boutique closed for almost 3 months, from mid-March to mid-June. It was rough, but I mean, overall, second semester was much stronger. Last quarter, very strong. Now, as an average, we are maybe down about 8 to 10% every month compared to 1 year before. And that's, you know, considering that there is no domestic travel, there is no international travel.
Yeah,
and we are still relying a lot on that. For example, Las Vegas was a huge market for us because people will come, they will spend a good amount of time over there, they will gamble big, and then they will spend big on watches. This has totally disappeared, and it was really a huge market for us. So we need the world as we knew it before to really be able to grow and beat 2019 numbers. But I mean, we were fine. Again, you know, a dip of 8 or 10% compared to the year before, you can still take. We're able to keep 100% of the employees, to maintain 100% of the salaries. And being, you know, retail and also quite linked with travel was not easy. But we did it. And again, digital becomes every day a much, much stronger portion of our life. But I don't know in the ultra luxury segment how much more it can translate.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if you're gonna I would take it on the women's side since they're the power luxury spender. I can't imagine if you're gonna go buy I don't think you can go buy like a Birkin bag on Hermes's website, right? Like, I don't even think they make it available for it, right? So you have to walk in, and I think, but if you're going to go buy a Chanel bag or you're going to go buy any of these iconic items, there's something about making a day of it and drinking champagne and having small talk and just that experience, even just hanging out in your guys' design district, Miami store, was fun.
I mean, you know, last time you had to do a gift for the birth of one of your, the son of one of your friends. You went to a Hermes store for the experience, you know?
Yeah.
That's
exactly
what people do. They still want to hang out a lot. We also underestimate a lot about how really wealthy people, how much time sometimes they have on their hands. I mean, no, but it's insane because you have a ton of ultra rich people. They are busy like crazy, you know, you can barely feed them, you know, a 20-minute Zoom call in one of their days. And you have some other, they have so much time to kill, and you find a ton of them in the luxury stores because they want to be entertained, they want to be considered, they want to be treated well. And that's why we offer so many experiences. And that's important, I think.
I think that's a really important point because you brought up the two types of ultra wealthy people. It's either the super busy businessman that doesn't want to deal with anything and delegates everything to assistants and whatnot. And then you have the other ultra wealthy people that want their ass kissed 24 hours a day.
I mean, in Miami, you're in the market where there's a lot of ultra wealthy people that have nothing to do.
I mean, including all the Silicon Valley tech guys that all moved there to avoid taxes. They literally have nothing to do. They're just waiting for IPOs. They're jet skiing and waiting for IPOs.
Absolutely. So no, that's a huge component. And it's also a very valid point. In Miami, we have a ton of those, so we can notice it frontline. It's really a city when you come, when you really made it. So I think definitely Miami is one of the beneficiary of the COVID crisis. We can see a lot of people relocating here. You can see a lot of people that, you know, don't dress as, the local dressed. Or, they behave different. And so
Patagonia vests. You're seeing a bunch of Patagonia.
Absolutely. So you can see that. And you also see a lot of much more dressed up people coming from New York, that dress for the summer in New York. and that's not how you dress for the summer in Miami. And you can see a lot of new people coming to the city for sure. But it's mostly a city where you come when you made it. And maybe you're only going to spend 6 months here, and the rest of the year you're going to spend it somewhere else. I don't know, Martha's Vineyard or New York or Aspen or LA and a lot of those clients need, or maybe they're in between two, I would say, missions in their life, and they need, like you said, the service, the treatments, the parties, the events, the emotional components that a brand like us can do that. And I mean, sometimes, and that's what we are known for, bringing what we call money experiences to the guests. So I mean, we've been partnering with Floyd Mayweather for quite some time. So we flew a lot of clients to some of Floyd's fight. It was amazing. We flew people. We are the sponsor of the Soccer World Cup. So we flew people for many days to Brazil 5 years ago. And to Russia last in 2018 for the World Cup. I mean, we have done Art Basel, obviously, is also a huge platform. So we have a huge event component in our marketing mix. And that was one of the elements that made Hublot successful. We have so few clients at the end because we are in that high price point category, that the way for us to connect with our clients, it's not advertising or media, because we will be diluting our resources. The idea is to connect with them directly and probably through events and money can buy experiences. And if we do enough events and enough experiences, at the end of 1 year, we will almost be able to interact with 100 of our clients. That's why in the year like 2019, Hublot North America, just here, we put together 130 events in the span of 1 year. And worldwide is closer to 1,000 events. But that's where our way to do, that was our way to do marketing before COVID. Obviously, COVID threw a wrench into the mix, but we, like I said, we shifted to digital. And at some point, obviously, the world, for some part, will come back to what we used to know, and we'll be able to resume that and to meet again, I hope, in Art Basel. Because again, I need to introduce me to more people. Last time you introduced me to you, I had to listen for the podcast. So if you factor 4 hours and a half a week for the last 14 months, I made a calculation just before we connected. I listened to you guys for almost 400 hours.
Well,
14 months.
Well, this might be the reason why Hublot's sales are down.
I don't even know if you can share this, but I'm going to ask anyway. How much does a Hublot customer have to spend to get invited to a vineyard with Kobe Bryant?
So that's a good question. I would say you really need to be a top VIP. For us, a VIP will be somebody. So we have a movement that's called a tourbillon. Basically, it's a little complicated movement that deflects the effect of gravity, because the movement itself spins around itself, so 360 degrees. So it's a movement which is complicated to do, and basically that gives watches over $1,000. So everybody who purchases a watch over $1,000, and we sell a few of them every month, will qualify obviously as a VIP. Then also you have people that purchase many different watches on a year. But I would say, if you spend $2,000 to $3,000 per year in watches with us, you're definitely
wait, 200 to 300,000 or 2,000?
No, the average watch is 22.
Yeah,
200,000.
Yeah.
200 to 300,000.
Man, I thought I was so close to 2,000.
He's like up. Tesla goes up. I can get.
Count me in.
Pete thought it was $2,000.
So the lesson, really, if you're a wealthy person, is focus all your attention on one luxury brand.
Yeah.
Just buy from that one brand.
Yes.
And you get to have dinner and with really famous people.
their Miami experience was unbelievable. Like, I mean, if you're a local in Miami or you're in town for Art Basel and you get invited to that, that's like a incredible experience that, if you're buying watches, why not support the brand that, supports you at the end of the day, I think.
And that's the way I think when you, in a sense, give back to your customers. So obviously we do a lot of charity, obviously, because you want to give back to the community and to add meaning to an industry that sometimes can be seen as maybe frivolous or superfluous. but also giving back to your customers by treating them. It's a nice way to level the relationship in a sense. So, and it creates bonds with your customers. So now I'm in touch with many customers. I've created personal connection with a lot of them, so it takes time. That's why, Anand, I cannot necessarily attend all of your chat on Clubhouse. But
I'm live today at 5 p.m. I'll join. 5 p.m. Pacific.
Today I joined.
It's a day dedicated to you guys, So today I joined, but that's a way to create personal connection with customers, because people now more than ever, they want to feel a personal connection with the brand, and the brand really means the people behind the brand. And that's how I think you build that community of not only watch enthusiasts, but brand Hublot enthusiasts. So that's the way we did it.
Amazing. That's great. I mean, super interesting story on how the luxury market is still quite different from the rest of the retail market, because the rest of the retail is obviously going strictly online, and most of us don't see a world where we need physical experiences. Do you foresee, are you looking at the next 12 months, 24 months as roaring 20s, where the wealthiest people are going to spend? When I look at hotels that I like to stay at around the world, they're so expensive right now. And there's nobody traveling. The fact that those prices haven't really dipped, maybe 10% on some of the nicest hotels. Do you feel that that's going to have a positive impact on your business?
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. I think that once, the situation, the COVID situation is addressed once and for all, I think there's going to be a huge release of energy, money. The world is going to celebrate like there is no tomorrow, and people are going to crave traveling, partying, getting together. So I think there's going to be a spike into consumption, definitely. And this will take many forms: travels, experiences, luxury goods, and so on and so forth. However, what I'm a little bit afraid of will be that, once there is a crisis, you think that the worst is behind you, as long as the eye of the storm is behind you.
Yeah.
What I'm afraid is that the longer this crisis lasts, the more permanent are the damage. And in a sense, we might only see the real damage of this crisis maybe after the COVID is over, because people will have used a lot of maybe their financial resources to make it to the end of the crisis, and then it will be they will have stretched their term too thin, and I think that's where we might see some more maybe bankruptcy in the coming months, and the economy deteriorating even further. But in terms of consumer behavior, I think that the end of COVID, and I think today we are about 52 million of people that have been vaccinated. So I hope every day, gets us closer to the end of this period. But I think it's going to be a huge influx of dollars and consumption at the end of this crisis.
Amazing. This was really great, and thank you for coming on. And obviously, you'll be fine as a fellow Harvard graduate. We're kind of resilient. We're untouchable.
Yeah.
When the poor are suffering, Harvard people are just doing fine.
Yeah, I think the luxury market is going to be absolutely gangbusters for the foreseeable future. You just look at the stock market, and every asset class has gone up so much. So the wealthy have just created and amassed so much wealth in the last 12 months. It's insane. And the last question I have is, you must be a celebrity in Miami. You run Hublot. You were running with the Heat courtside with LeBron and D Wade.
He knows Jay-Z personally.
I'm getting my second vaccine tomorrow. I may come see you in a week and just show me around.
We're connected. We are connected. I will say that the luckiest thing in my position is we get to interact with a ton of famous and people, but I would say above or beyond the famous and the rich and famous, I would say really where I feel lucky that I got to interact with some of the most talented people on the planet. When you have talk with people like Shepard Fairey, or with Dwayne Wade, or with a Kobe, or with a Victor Cruz, or with Julian Edelman, or I have so many names, or Nobu. Or so many people like that, you get to and they got to tell you their life story and the mindset they have, the efforts they have to put together to all where they are today. And those world-class performers, whether it's in sport, gastronomy, or art, those are probably the aspects of my job I like the most, because you don't get to meet those people and interact with them and be for a short moment on an equal standpoint. And their life story are just amazing. And what you can take in from what they share with you is absolutely priceless. And that's probably the part of my job that I like the most. And yes, at the end, we make incredible connection in Miami, but also in a lot of different parts of the country. And for that, I feel really blessed. So, connected not only through my alma mater, but also through the company. And, being with you guys is also priceless, so not only spending 4 hours and a half with you through my phone every week, but now, getting even to talk to you visually, even if drama, bailed on me, but...
No discount for drama. You keep the discount for us.
Yeah.
You can see that, too many Harvard people in the same room can be intimidating maybe for me.
For an uneducated man.
Absolutely.
So my last final question, hottest restaurant in Miami right now?
Yeah, so I will say I still, like Swan, which is in the Miami Design District, and it's still a district that showed a lot of resilience. One that is the hot restaurant right now in Miami, because you know how Miami is. It's always the last big thing. Yeah, people go from one to the other, and they are not extremely loyal, I will say. But New York is probably the hottest restaurant at the moment. But I didn't get to try it. I have also 2 kids like you, D, and one is still a baby. So 2020 was more of the priorities changed for a little bit.
Yeah. Carbone will be there.
Come to Miami once you're vaccinated, guys, and we'll go to Carbone all together. And if drama feels like joining, we can even bring swords if you feel more. And we'll bring drama into the mix as well.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
This was awesome.
That was so awesome.
Thank you for having me, guys, and keep crushing it. #1 podcast in the world.
Yes, thank you. With the #1 watch in the world.
Yes.
Thank you, guys, and thank you to Pete and Tim.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Tim.
Yeah.
You look awfully clean today. And not because you might have showered, actually. You're cleanly shaven.
Oh, yes. Thank you for noticing.
Your cleanly shaven face matches your voice, your Kermit the Frog voice.
I think Tim's made so much money on Apple that he's just like, I got to look like a suit. So he's clean shaven. Mm-hmm. You know, just
exactly.
look the part.
We were just talking about this. You're a Harry's guy.
I am. I love Harry's razors.
Wow.
I've been using these razors since I started shaving. It was the first razor I ever got. My dad gave it to me and said, "You're never going to find one better than this." He uses it too. Yeah.
Wait, Harry's isn't that old. How old are you?
I'm not that old.
He's only 23. 5 years ago was probably the first time.
Yeah, and I'm like Swedish and Irish. I didn't start shaving until like a couple years ago.
So you went and got a Harry's. That's so interesting that, this generation, you're going to grow up on Harry's.
Yeah.
Wow. So you swear by it.
I do. It's like the weight of the razor itself is enough. Like you don't need to like press in. It just is like, I don't know. It's impossible to cut yourself. It's just really well designed.
Wow. And
I've tried to use others and This
is someone that really doesn't endorse or have a sense of pride in many things.
But the one thing he does.
I've never seen Tim more animated about a product.
Yeah, he was like, I love it. We were talking about reading this ad, and he goes, I love Harry's.
Harry's? I love Harry's. Harry's? Beer?
When I got to LA, I had to go to like 3 different stores because I needed Harry's razors. I need to find where they sold them here.
Have you heard of e-commerce?
Have you heard of the internet?
They launched on the internet.
It's crazy.
So if you're interested in Harry's based on that very strong endorsement, you can head over to harrys.com/group chat and we'll throw you in a new customer kit, Harry starter set, and a free body wash for just $3. That's it? $3?
Yeah.
That's insane. and so harrys.com/group chat. So give it a shot, and then you can refill as you go. And, we're hearing great things because of their quality. They also bought their own factory in Germany, so they can own every step of the manufacturing process.
So Zach Bia, who famously wore the EBITDA chain and made that very famous,
Coined another new phrase
with a post with D.
Yes.
And it was called vertical integration.
And that is what Harry's is doing.
Yes.
That's how they're able to hit these prices and keep Tim's face buttery soft.
And his pockets fat.
And they give 100% money back guarantee. So you don't like it, send it back.
But honestly, from Tim's commitment and his word, it doesn't sound like you'll hate it.
Yeah. I'm going to get it too now.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I mean, Harry's for $3. Harrys.com/group chat.
HARRYS.com/group chat.
For a limited time, Harry's has an exclusive offer for listeners of Group Chat. New customers can get a Harry starter set and a free body wash for just $3 at harrys.com/group chat. That's over a $16 value for only $3. You'll get a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shaving gel, a travel cover, and a travel size body wash. It's an incredible deal, but act fast while supplies last. Go to harrys.com/group chat. Wow, what an interesting interview.
That was incredible. He not only is obviously successful running Hublot, but he knew everything about the podcast and was able to talk about all the inside jokes and make it so fun.
It was definitely a really fun interview. And obviously when you're talking to, a fellow Harvard man, it's just that wit, that sharpness. It's just so he's so funny, charming, just something we get when we come out of Cambridge.
Must be nice.
And I think the other interesting thing is that the luxury market is just so fascinating. It's like its own planet. Mm-hmm. There's like everything else that's happening in the economy and retail. And I think people, like if the average person looked under the hood of what's happening at a luxury house versus what's happening at a traditional e-com or even traditional retailer, it's so different who the customers are, what the experience is like, the price points.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about people buying multiple $25,000 watches, $100,000 watches, and it's just a different world.
So the big takeaway I have from this conversation, and I thought actually was pretty eye-opening, was that luxury will never eliminate physical experiences. You're going to always have a percentage of luxury that will choose e-com, and you're going to have those people. But then there's this other group that want to go in, get the champagne, have someone kiss their ass, have someone tell them how great it is, go to dinner with Kobe Bryant or D.
But think about it. If you're going to go buy, let's just take for you, for example, if you're going to go spend $100,000 on something, why the fuck would you buy it online? $100,000? If it was like a $1,000 jacket, I get it. $2,000 jacket, $5,000 jacket. But if it's like your dream watch, do you really want to buy it online?
So I would say repeat customers may.
Why?
So maybe
It's
their
such a fun
intro
experience.
to Hublot, they're like, just get me the next collection. So I could see that, but it's just different because if you look at the other end of the market, groceries. Once you buy groceries on Instacart or Amazon, you're never going to go back. My point is, luxury will always have that physical experience.
Yeah, I mean, even if I were to go buy a brand new car at any price point today, I still don't feel comfortable without at least seeing the damn car.
I mean, everyone's doing that with Tesla right now.
No, but they're going to Tesla showrooms, right?
I don't even know. How many people are going to Tesla
I think a lot of people
Yeah,
are.
I think a lot of people are.
A lot of people. Those Tesla showrooms are slammed.
Yeah.
It's like a museum. Yeah. It's like people are going just because they're familiar. They want to familiarize
But the data is there. Like people are buying expensive jewelry online. They're buying all these things. So my point is both customers are going to exist. You're going to have your really rich people who don't give a shit and just buy and get it on e-com. And then you have another set of really rich people that want the experience.
Yeah, because
personally, like if I were to ever make a purchase of that value, I'm doing it in person.
Which you will soon.
And by the way,
very, very soon.
Yeah, and by the way, you're going to go and you're going to do it a lot of my friends, when we travel, that is when they make their luxury purchases.
Sure.
Oh, we're in Paris. Let's go shopping. They save it. Obviously, there's advantages to buying luxury goods in Paris. It's cheaper because you can claw back the duty. But like the idea of it's just fun. If you have the money and you have the time, why not go do it in person?
Yeah, I think time's the real issue.
Yeah.
And
on vacation, that's why travel is such a big part of
and
luxury.
no one works anymore.
Yeah.
So retail's going to be booming.
Yeah,
Luxury retail will be booming. Not
if you're selling to like mom and pa.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the resurgence is going to be insane because think about how much wealth was created in the last 12 months in that market.
Yeah.
And they haven't gone anywhere. They haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Maybe they've gone to Miami. Maybe they've gone to St. Bart's, Aspen, Hawaii. They haven't gone really.
Not their normal travel.
Yes.
You know, where you're 4 trips a year.
Yeah.
You know, the whole family goes. And by the way, like, think about it like this. Chinese people consume more luxury.
By far.
Right? They haven't gone anywhere.
No.
They have not come to Miami, LA, New York, San Francisco, you know, all these places, or Paris. Like, I can imagine a city like Paris has been devastated without having Chinese tourism.
I mean, in Paris, the LVMH store is in multiple languages, right?
Yeah.
You have Japanese, Chinese, English, I think, right?
Yeah. There's people that work there, whatever.
It's like getting on an Emirates flight.
Yeah.
We speak these 14 languages they announce because they know.
Those are the rich languages. If your language is on here, historically, you guys haven't had money, so we're not going to cater to you.
Yes.
Well, on that path, we are seeing some positive news in LA County. They just announced elementary schools are cleared to reopen. So LA, which was, you know, pretty far behind 3 weeks ago, is now rapidly catching up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have the outdoor dining, which, you know, I haven't gotten a chance to experience, but I've driven around town. All the popular restaurants seem pretty packed already. I mean, the weather dependent, you know, if it's nice, it seems like they're all crowded. Now schools on the elementary side are reopening. So let's get them in. And then the next is middle school, junior highs, and then I think college will probably be last.
Yeah.
Because they're probably more higher risk. So it seems like things are happening quite quickly now.
So elementary schools are starting Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's next week.
Yeah.
That's very encouraging. And the unfortunate part of this virus is that the places that are hardest hit are the ones that come back the fastest. Yeah. When you couple vaccine rollout plus everyone who's been infected, your cases just drop because you either have the antibodies from the infection or you have the antibodies from the vaccine. So LA became the worst county in the worst country in the world. So with the vaccine rollout, in my opinion, LA has been highly efficient.
Yeah.
So I'm getting my second dose tomorrow. Hopefully I make it in Thursday.
Yeah.
Because some people are getting knocked out. Some people aren't. May have a low-grade fever, high-grade fever. Who knows?
Whatever. Take it and just be done with it.
And but yeah, it's one way or the other. You get through
That's a great Clubhouse chat. I just got the second dose. I'm going to tell you the next 18 hours.
And just Clubhouse for 18 hours straight.
Yeah, just got this.
Because I can't breathe. Help! Call 911.
But just if you think about it, that demographic, most of them have not got their first dose.
I'd say of our age group, 99% haven't gotten it.
Exactly.
At first or second dose.
I mean, that could be a breakout moment.
Yeah, maybe
I'm the 156th richest person on Clubhouse, and I'm of the rich people. I'm the second person.
I'm laying on my bathroom floor, like just like screaming.
Yeah. And then you're like, Jean-Francois, pack up 2 Hublots. Let me feel better. Give me that Kobe limited edition.
And my experience with the vaccine rollout has been incredible. I got an automatic appointment texted to me from the city saying February 17th, that's when you're 30 days up for your Moderna. Wow. Show up at 1.
That's amazing.
Shockingly efficient.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like things are going to happen fast for all demographics. And be ready, guys. I think by March, a lot of you will be getting your first vaccine shot.
Yeah, Fauci said April, I think last week, everyone who wants it will be able to. I think he pushed it a little to May, June. So it's
April will get their first shot.
Sure. But the first shot reduces the spread significantly.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've been following all the Israeli charts. They're showing a steep drop off in infected cases in Israel. Just after the second dose was hit, it just fell off a cliff.
I mean, hospitalizations in LA have fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
So I think the worst part of COVID for LA was the first 2 weeks of January. Hospitals that weren't typically overrun by COVID all got overrun by COVID. And I mean, we heard it directly from UCLA. They never had COVID cases that were concerning. And then all of a sudden in January, it was just like a disaster. Yeah. So that's all come down.
And frankly, just as an anecdote, I don't recall anyone that I personally know in the last 2 weeks that has told me they got it. Whereas the 6 weeks prior, I knew someone almost every day.
Yeah, everyone was getting it in Jan.
Yeah, and
early
in December.
Jan. Yeah,
in December. I knew so many people in December that got it too. So I think those are encouraging signs. I think the next step is really just seeing with all the schools reopening and activities being done again, what does that look like?
So I actually want to give props to the LAUSD. So Tyler Malott, childhood best friend, listens to the pod.
Oh, nice.
He's a teacher in the LAUSD. He told me the LAUSD has handed out 100 million meals since COVID started.
Wow.
Because so many of the students require the meal tickets.
So how does do you go to the school?
Asked.
Do you go to the school?
Show up to the designated centers. They know the majority of the kids at LAUSD require meal assistance.
Yeah.
So there's no questions asked. You show up, you get a meal.
That's unbelievable.
100 million meals.
Yeah. That also should tell you we can do that for homeless people. We can get them residences. We learned a lot about ourselves. We could do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, you can reallocate resources. Like that number, when I heard that, I asked him like 5 times. I was like, did you say 10 million? Did you say...
How many kids are there?
In LAUSD?
So there's 600,000 students in the LAUSD, which is the school district in Los Angeles, which I think is the second largest compared to New York City. If you assume half the kids need meal assistance.
Maybe more.
Okay.
Because Tyler was telling me that the schools he has worked at, it's all of the kids.
Wow.
Like there's not even meal tickets because all the kids require free meals.
So you just stay in line.
Yeah.
So let's assume it's 400,000 kids. Yeah, 25 meals. Seems realistic.
Yeah, easily. I'm just impressed that they were able to distribute that many.
Yeah.
Kudos to LAUSD.
Yeah, good for you guys. That's interesting. So look, I think it's looking encouraging everywhere. We just have to. I think people still need to respect masks and just basic policy till it really is gone.
I'm going to be wearing my mask after my second vaccine. There's no reason I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think. One. I don't think you'll be allowed in places still without.
Not only that, it's also like we still don't know enough.
Yeah.
Like. It's unclear if you can still be a carrier and you just don't have symptoms because you have the vaccine, or we don't know if you actually are immune. But you have to still adhere to those decisions. I'm not going to go maskless indoor, talking to a ton of people.
Understood. Okay. Well, let's keep it moving. I saw something that was really interesting.
Okay.
I saw, and Drama touched on it because I think it was about his 60 Minutes interview. But Bill Gates hit the circuit this weekend, just doing a lot of press. And he said, I'm not a Mars guy.
Bill Gates said that?
Yeah. Because there's enough problems to fix on Earth.
So he's taking a shot at Elon.
Yeah. Like, why are you trying to figure out Mars, bro? Like, Tesla's working on the climate change problem. But then Mars is so which I understand. Everyone has their fight. Tesla is helping the climate change crisis, so I can't knock Elon for not doing things because he is. But it's interesting, Bill Gates, talking about just food insecurity, water, all those other issues. But Bill Gates is a much different stage of life than Elon Musk is. Elon Musk is in his prime. Bill Gates is in that era of his life where all he cares about is just.
And I think Bill Gates has made it his mission since he retired from Microsoft that he went to third world countries and saw how much despair there is. So in Africa, India, Pakistan, all these places. And he's seen firsthand. Not that Elon hasn't or doesn't care. It's just, I mean, to each their own. So like, no one should be beefing. Like, I don't care about Mars, but if Elon's passionate about Mars, all good. You're doing enough good you're a superhero on Earth. If you want to be a superhero on Mars, go for it too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think they just have, I mean, he's also comes from a different era.
Yeah.
So now it's in vogue to care about Mars and space. So Bezos cares about space.
Yeah.
Bill Gates is just a different generation where he's like, I'd rather solve polio.
Yeah. Like make immediate impact on Earth. Interesting. All right. So what are the Chinese up to?
So it looks like Jack Ma, aka Pete, who also was silenced for a short period of time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Chinese government, President Xi, it's come out that they blocked the anti-IPO, which we knew. Jack Ma got sidelined.
Anti-IPO, for those that don't know, is the financial arm of Alibaba.
Yes. And they basically have...
And it was huge.
Huge.
Like 200 billion, something crazy.
Yeah. Funny story about IPO, actually. Just remembered this. Remember when Yahoo bought Alibaba?
Yeah.
They invested, whatever. They owned 20%. And Yahoo is effectively worthless.
Yeah.
And all of its worth was in Alibaba. So Ant Financial, which is effectively PayPal, or whatever. I'm sure there's 100 services on top of it, but that's how it officially started. Was owned by Alibaba. So Yahoo owned 25% of Alibaba. Ant was part of Alibaba. And I have a friend who was working in China at the time, and he basically said that once they started realizing Ant Financial was going to be so valuable, they just told Yahoo, F off, you no longer own Ant Financial. And so Yahoo should technically own 20% of Ant Financial.
It's probably $50 billion.
Yes. And the Chinese just said, thank you.
Bunch of Yahoos over there.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good day, Yahoo. You're not touching this. And if you're Yahoo, you're not going to sit and argue with a dictatorship because then you'll lose your Alibaba stake.
Yeah.
So they just shut up and dribble. China's very good at shut up and dribble.
Shut up and shitty search.
Yeah. So anyways, it's been revealed that the biggest beneficiaries, meaning some of the biggest shareholders that would have benefited from an Ant Financial IPO, were political rivals of President Xi. Just like any good dictator, you silence your opposition, and that's effectively where Jack Ma's problems all are sourced from.
Yeah. Why isn't Jack Ma just... I don't know what Jack Ma can do. He's in a tough position.
The only thing he could do is sneak out and claim political asylum. Can you imagine if Jack Ma, the richest Chinese person in the world...
He just would never be allowed. I mean, like, they're watching him. They're not letting him walk around.
There's no way.
He's not just going to the movies by himself.
Yeah, it's almost like Al-Walid in Saudi, who's been sidelined.
Yeah. Jack Ma is being watched by the Chinese government. Because here's the thing. He's also such a huge sense of pride for citizens in China. They need to keep him an ally too.
But I would suspect that if citizens of China are hip to game, I know they're getting fed all this misinformation by the government, but they're also not stupid.
Thinking what?
Meaning they know that the government's controlling Jack Ma.
I don't think they do.
So it's funny. Anthony was telling me he saw a Clubhouse room.
Ant IPO?
No, exactly. He saw a Clubhouse room. A Chinese-based Clubhouse room, and they were talking about how the Uyghurs or the Muslim genocide doesn't exist. Tiananmen Square doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is crazy. And I said, I bet you they're just doing this to get on the right side of the government. Do you think those people, if you are capable in China to go figure out what Clubhouse is, download it, you're going to believe Tiananmen Square doesn't exist?
I'm telling you, they don't. You have to go there and talk to people there. They have a very different view. Like the way we will talk shit about our government and our leaders.
We'd be dead.
Yeah, this is unacceptable there to even. It's just.
So do you think they've been just conditioned to talk like that? Or they actually believe it. Two different things.
I think they believe it. I honestly think they believe it because they also.
So they're no different than the storm the Capitol thinking the election was stolen from them, right? They
because you're talking about storm the Capitol guy. Poor guy was only brainwashed in the last 18 months.
Right.
You're talking about these people have been since birth.
Sure.
Like,
that's a good point.
And there's not like religion in China.
No, it's a very non-religious state.
Yeah, exactly. Purposely. And
because they don't want you to have belief in anything other than G.
Yeah, so government is the religion. And they've told you, hey, you get to live. I mean, you go to China, I've never been to anyone's, have I been to anyone's home in China? Yes, I have actually, in Guangzhou. But like, it's pretty good.
I agree, but who are the biggest tourists in the world?
Chinese people.
Yeah. So New York City, a lot of Chinese people. LA, a lot of Chinese people. So when they go from China to LA, New York, London, all the big cities that every Chinese person...
They're probably like, this is not that great of a life.
No, but the news is now different.
They're going to Louis Vuitton. They're not sitting there watching the news. They're not saying, let's go watch CNN
So when
now.
they stumble on a group chat, they're like, what the fuck's going on in China?
They're not stumbling on us. That's the thing. But they probably are coming back home thinking, these people have such a twisted view of China. This is not what's happening here.
Yeah, I think that...
The same thing if you talk to someone who is from India and we're talking about Modi being someone that we think is not doing the country justice, they would counter and say, no, he is. He is the right. There's a lot. Obviously, he's the prime minister.
He's the prime minister, but there's a lot of backlash.
But
he's pretty unpopular.
I would say a majority of people in India think Modi's doing a good job.
I don't.
He got reelected.
Yeah, he got reelected, but elections are so corrupt in India, and he
maybe rich people.
No, he's similar to Trump in the sense that he campaigned on a Hindu nationalist platform. Same way that Trump campaigned on a white nationalist platform.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, India's 70% Hindu, 30% Muslim. Large disputes since the beginning of time between those two religions. And he capitalized on the emotions and was able to get reelected. But I think he's still pretty unpopular.
Okay. We'll see.
What are we seeing?
We'll see. I mean, I just don't.
No, I think the example that is what you're trying to make with the people in China are like, you guys think you have all these great Bill of Rights and all this, but my life is normal.
Yeah.
It's almost similar to if you go to a slum in Bombay, they aren't mad about their own lives. They're happy. They're willing to live in this structure, and you can get conditioned in your own environment not to expect more.
And I think that's in the case of a lot of countries.
Yeah.
All right. So what's Golden Auctions?
Golden Auctions. This is a marketplace for trading cards.
Is it another investment of yours?
$40 million raised by the Churning Group. Pete's
Barstool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
people over at Churning. Good people.
Good people over
Fine
at Churning.
people.
And I think Kevin Durant, a handful of other athletes also invested in the round. And it's just like supporting the notion that the trading market, the baseball card trading market is here to stay. Who knows if there's inflation on certain cards or not? Who knows if it's being manipulated? I'm sure all of that's happening. But similar to cryptocurrency, if enough people believe in an asset, it's an asset.
Yeah.
And that's what you're seeing in cards. And I've seen people be pretty dismissive of the baseball card market.
Why? I was never into it because people have been telling me about it. I mean, Josh Luber, the founder of StockX, told to me on a panel I did with them. I asked him, where should I be investing?
A few years ago, right?
Yeah, that was 3 years ago now, I think. 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He literally, on a panel, told me, buy baseball cards. And I was like, and I believed him. I'm just not interested in it.
It's not even not being interested. Like, great for anyone that's made money in baseball cards. I just don't have the bandwidth to track every asset.
No,
So
I
if
agree.
you're tracking crypto, private liquid markets, and stock markets, throwing in something else.
I know, but here's the thing is, given that you're a sports fan, basketball cards could be really, really fun.
No, it is fun. But if you're doing it in terms of trying to make money, you have to actually sit and do the research.
Yeah, you got to spend.
And you have to pick and choose which assets you want to dive in. And I think sports cards are still so new, and there is an ARB.
Yeah.
I do believe there's an ARB.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you're willing to put in the work, do the research, figure out which, I think it's the Panini brand, which is like the most exclusive or whatever, and then figure out how you can game the market right now.
Yeah.
And then ultimately become more efficient. It'll never be fully efficient. So there is a window where you can make money. And I think this investment and just shows that it's something similar to NBA Top Shot people have to pay attention to.
Well, the other idea I had, I wanted to tell Anthony, I totally forgot. I haven't spoken to him about this, but in that same idea of in cryptocurrency, collectibles, what NBA Top Shot is doing, imagine if it was done for song lyrics and you get to own a song. And it's the on the blockchain where it's officially you own the lyrics to that song. You have no licensing power or rights. Not like publishing, but there's some digital version of that song you can own. Like you can't monetize it in the sense how like, oh, I'll license it to a commercial. But if you could technically own like a piece of a song, a line of a song.
Yeah, if you could own Jumpman, Jumpman, Jumpman.
Yeah. Like, you know how many people would love to own that? And sit and not even monetize it, just to fucking own it.
No, then that becomes an asset.
Yeah. I mean, if you could own like Illmatic, people pay $10 million to not even monetize, just be like, I'm the...
Well, I mean, the idiot, how much did he buy for the Wu-Tang?
Shkreli, yeah. Yeah. I mean, so like, that, to me, that's a pretty big option for musicians because you might even break the publishing market. Imagine if you said... Bob Dylan, who just sold he's known as one of the greatest songwriters of all time, goes out into the market and says, all of you can own a piece of me as a music fanatic, I would put $5,000 into Bob Dylan's catalog just to have a piece of it.
It's going to go there.
Yeah.
So you may have just given away a multi-billion-dollar business for free on the podcast.
I'm happy to. I just want to own. I just want to own a couple hot songs. There's a couple songs. I need to own Fleetwood Mac everywhere.
It's going to work.
Yeah,
like at 100%, the market's going to go there. Whether it's the team behind NBA Top Shot that goes and does it, or someone else, but there's no reason it shouldn't. What blockchain solved is what Wu-Tang did with the one album. They made one of one.
Yeah,
right. That's why it was so valuable. There was only one album.
Yeah.
So if you only have one lyric to own, one chorus, if you think about the biggest songs of all time, like Thriller, Michael Jackson, imagine what people would pay to own like a verse.
Oh yeah, $100 million.
Yeah,
to own that song, it'd be sick.
Yeah,
there's so many people that would want to own that song.
I pay $1,000 just to get the word Thriller.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the market's definitely going to go there.
Yeah, and that's just music. It took everything.
Everything. Like the inauguration of Obama.
Yeah.
Like you want to own that moment. Do you know how many people would pay for that?
Yeah.
So is it just owning everything in life that's some way?
Yeah.
Just like everything has a price.
You own Clubhouse. $50.
If you you can own what I'm going to talk about today at 5 p.m. on Clubhouse. I'm for sale.
22
DM. You can buy whatever.
I'll buy it for $20 and you can't repeat any of that ever again. All right, let's move on to the final topic. Tequila, a favorite topic of mine. Looks like Kendall Jenner has launched her own tequila brand. Very interesting.
What are your thoughts? She doesn't strike me as a tequila drinker.
Really? Why?
Do the Jenners even drink? We've seen them out.
They drink.
Yeah, they drink.
They drink 1942. They always have 1942 in their kind of pictures and stuff. So Kendall Jenner, I think the Jenners needed to have an alcohol. Kendall's still the one that's still out and about of the group. I mean, the other girl, Kourtney Kardashian having it doesn't look good. Doesn't really fit the brand.
Absolutely not.
But Kendall, the supermodel with the famous boyfriend.
And all the famous friends.
With all the famous friends.
Who's she dating now?
Booker, right?
Devin Booker.
Oh, that's right. Still.
Yeah.
That's been going on for a while.
A little bit, apparently IG official this weekend with a little V-Day.
Yeah, V-Day really? IG official. So, and the name of the tequila I love, so I'll give you that. It's 818.
Interesting, because she grew up in Calabasas.
She grew up in Calabasas, which is, part of the valley where we
I like that because being in LA our whole life, most people would look down upon us when we have an 818 cell phone number.
Well, I'll tell you what's happened now.
No joke.
Yeah. 818 when college.
Yeah, people would scoff at us.
Yeah, you were not looked highly upon. And I've kept my 818 number since high school. It's interesting. I was listening. There's a really popular song that's been out for, 6 months, a year, whatever it is, Moonwalking in Calabasas. And the song is like, it's a rap song that's obviously very popular. But instead of talking about Beverly Hills, Hollywood, or any of these other places, iconic places of LA, he's talking about Calabasas. Think about how many rap songs are now talking about this particular neighborhood, which growing up, it was just like a sleepy upper middle class suburb of where we grew up. And so interesting that she chose the 818 homage. I kind of like it because it makes it feel like more real. 818 is just like more accessible to people. It sounds like, I looked it up on her Instagram, and it's all these award-winning, best award for this. I don't know how real those awards are. I can't vouch for any of them. I've never heard of. It's like a number one podcast in the world. Yeah. But it looks like she partnered because my friend Hayden posted it. Looked with Hayden because he said, or he's an investor in it.
And who's Hayden?
Hayden started Press Juicery.
Okay.
So great operator. Obviously, Press Juicery is an incredible brand. So I'm curious to see how the tequila tastes. I did find it interesting. It's not cheap. So it's $59. So puts it...
Walk me through, because I only know Tito's.
So Tito's is $20.
Yes.
Okay, but that's what makes it the number one spirit, right? Is price is a big part of this game. So George Clooney and Randy Gerber launched Casamigos. That was originally priced at like anywhere between $39 to $49. And then now it's $59.
So, wow. And Casamigos was always perceived as a higher end brand.
Yes, because
and it was still cheaper than what these guys are coming out with.
Yeah, because I remember buying Casamigo at $39 and $49 pre-Diageo buying the brand. When Diageo bought the brand, they hiked up the prices. And then it went like in this neighborhood, it's a $60 bottle. When I go to another state,
so you're saying that the equivalent of the amount of alcohol you get in a $20 Tito's bottle is $60 for Casamigos?
Yes.
That's significant.
3x.
Wow.
And probably costs the same to make.
Yeah.
So very profitable. So Kendall Jenner's brand 818 is coming out at $59. So not inexpensive. So, but what's interesting is when I think about Kendall's fan, which is a humongous audience of people, 59 seems high.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously super famous and will have all these celebrities. I just don't think her fan base will care about her owning a tequila brand. So they're not going to flock to it.
Who is a Kendall Jenner? So like,
can we walk? So Casamigos, the reason why Casamigos became such an it brand among luxury, and the backstory is basically Meldman, Randy Gerber, and George Clooney. They're the three co-founders. There's something called the Discovery Properties. So for people who don't know, Discovery Properties are resorts all across the U.S., Hawaii, and Bahamas, right? So there's El Dorado and Cabo. There's, what's the Palm Springs one called?
Madison Club.
Madison Club in Palm Springs. Yellowstone Club in Montana.
Yeah. Baker's Bay in Bahamas.
Baker's Bay in Bahamas. They have something in Tennessee. There's something in Hawaii. I forget where in Hawaii. So what they did was they made all their luxury resorts. So for people to understand who goes to these resorts, it's the richest and most famous people in the world.
All of them.
All of them. They're at every property. So from Bezos to Tom Brady to all these people. And the only brand you could buy there for tequila was Casamigos. So it instantly became the brand that rich people drink.
Yeah.
And
it just trickled down.
It just seeded, the marketing there was just...
Well, the also thing is George Clooney for men was someone that is so popular.
Yeah.
He's so popular with women. He's always was. But for men, no one looked at George Clooney and like clowned him.
Yeah.
That he always had this like mysterious kind of air of respect around him. So when he came out and Randy Gerber being a nightlife restaurateur, you kind of felt like these guys probably drink a decent amount.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate cheat code.
Yeah.
They had
they also had a very good product comparative.
Sure, good product, but then they had the biggest tastemakers in the world that became the biggest fans of
would
it.
Wear their hats.
Wear the hats, this, that, and then it became in the nicest restaurants. So you go from Discovery Properties to the best restaurants in the world, and then it trickles down and becomes... That's why the premium was so insane, because they were doing a fraction of the revenue of the $1 billion purchase.
Oh, yeah. They were doing sub 100 from what everyone says.
But the brand cachet was so high because of how the product was launched.
Yeah.
So this just seems like, okay, we're going to launch a brand. We know someone we have super famous. She's young. Her age demo doesn't even drink. They do weed edibles. Like,
I mean, how
what
old's it?
35-year-old? So 35 plus are the drinkers. We're the drinkers, not
Yeah.
the 25-year-olds. What 35-year-old's going to be like? Oh, Kendall's tequila. I need to try that.
Yeah, because she's what, 25?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't
It's a
know. It
tough
might
sell.
work.
I think it's going to work.
Yeah, so
At
do I.
that price point, if you told
No,
me
but I think she's got
$15
two cool
tequila,
of friends and everything around that group that are like the trendsetters for her age group can turn that conversation really, really fast.
but like if
And-
she
and-
was selling a $15 bottle of tequila,
No, I don't think kids have a problem spending that extra couple dollars for the cool factor.
I agree. I think if it's clothes, I totally get it because you're going to use it a couple times.
Yeah.
For me to like buy a $60 bottle of alcohol, it's part of my purchase habit. So it's like whatever, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But like, when I was 25, I didn't give a shit what I drank.
no, you just want to get drunk.
I just wanted to get drunk, and price was a big issue.
True.
I was not drinking the best of the best. I
I
was
mean,
just trying
at
to.
25, we would just stomach hangovers and drink the shittiest alcohol available.
yeah.
Well, vodka, well, tequila, whatever your choice of drink is, just to get drunk, and then you wake up miserable and you do it again the next day.
Yeah. I don't think a 25-year-old is extremely particular on their liquor preferences. You got beer?
Yeah, beer.
Can we tease that D might have a competitor to Kendall?
We're tasting.
Okay.
We're tasting. We're tasting.
Well, in the meantime, let's read off some of their awards to live up to. I have the screenshot here. Best Reposado Tequila from the World Tequila Awards. Tell me if you recognize any of these, because it just sounds like made up bullshit. The Platinum Award from the SIP Awards, SIP. Chairman's Trophy for the Neho. That was the Ultimate Spirits Challenge. By the way, she said this has been around and being tested out for 3 years.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
Was she even 21 3 years ago?
well, yeah, she's 25. Right?
Is she 25?
Did we just say she's 25?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, she's probably.
Can we look that up? Yeah. Somebody, while I'm reading off these great awards. Triple gold at the Micro Liquor Spirits Awards. They won a top
I
prize.
bet you it tastes good. I don't
think it tastes bad.
Yeah.
25.
She's 25. So top 100 spirits, double gold medal in the Innovation Award from this again SIP Micro Liquor.
Yeah, I don't care for the fake awards, but
In 3 years, she entered into 3 competitions.
yeah, how do you get in all these competitions? You're not even out yet. Okay, cool. Good for her. I'll be buying.
Yeah, we should give a live
I
taste test.
support everyone's tequila.
Well, that sounds like give a connect. Let them know that we'll be reviewing it.
Yes.
It's crazy that she's 25 because I feel like we've been seeing her out and about in LA for a decade.
Because she's been out in LA for a decade.
Like I feel she's been out partying as long as I've been out.
I mean, what's the young supermodel chick? Gerber. She's
Kaya Gerber.
Yeah, she's been out in the scene.
She
since
just turned 18, right?
Yeah, I've seen her 2 years. All right, shout outs.
I got nothing.
Don't we have SC on social?
Yes. Today is Wednesday.
I have nothing.
got
I saw
anything?
nothing.
So Amanda actually brought this up to me that this is as her seen on social, that Tom Brady faked the whole blackout because he's teasing that he's got a tequila coming out.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine?
He's a sociopath.
That's as Tom Brady as it gets, though. Like I
He's
believe
so
that
that dedicated to his tequila brand that he faked getting drunk.
because he tweeted like, "Oh,
Avocado
avocado tequila."
No way.
That's bubbling on the internet.
He doesn't even drink.
So that means he doesn't even really drink.
I mean, would that surprise you? How
I don't know.
much of a psychopath Tom Brady is that he orchestrated this whole thing? Do you think Tom Brady, TB12, the guy who won 7 Super Bowls, can't walk a straight line blacked out?
Yeah.
What was he blacked out on? It looks like all they do is drink beers. I mean, maybe they're sipping shit on the
Avocado
back.
tequila.
I mean, we've all
That's incredible marketing for a tequila brand, if that's what it is. I'm buying that one.
Yeah, I'd buy that one over A&A.
I feel like there's going to be a drunk Twitch stream coming up.
It's just D by himself.
I like that conspiracy. I like it.
It's a good one.
Okay.
I'll quickly plug one. Deandre Hopkins. Did you see what he posted today?
No.
JJ is out of Houston. They dropped him. He said, let's finish what we started. And a nice little pic of them hugging.
So he's trying to get him to the Cardinals.
Yes. JJ Watt is available. Who could he end up at? I don't know, but
I think he's joining a little bro in Pittsburgh.
You think so? He could come to the Packers too.
Sure.
Well, Okay.
You know, that's
JJ
all.
Watt, I used to be always getting him clothes early in his career. There's a hat that I gave him years ago that I still see him wearing to this day. But he was awesome. I met him, I think, his rookie season.
Yeah.
And he would always just shoot me because, we make bigger sizes. So he was happy to support the brand. But he's a great dude. I'm sure he's going to end up on a hot team.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
He
he's
has to.
still in his prime.
He has to win.
I mean, maybe he goes to the Bucks, picks up a ring.
They're saying Odell might go to the Bucks.
Yeah, I saw Odell might go to the Bucks. That's
He's
hot.
definitely winning again.
Yeah. I mean, Brady just picks up. You want a ring? You want a ring? Come on. And everyone's going to try because it's like pretty guaranteed you're going to win.
Well, at least you get a shot.
You'll be in
Yeah.
the finals.
Yeah, you'll be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right. Shout out from
Shout-outs. We got one from Danny Shaw. Danny Shaw said, Big Kathy based in Bath, England, where they filmed Bridgerton.
Wow. Shout out to
Oh.
Bridgerton.
Yeah. Can I get a shout out for my wife, Kim? We welcomed my second child, a baby girl called Sienna, last week.
Wow.
Partners are not allowed in the delivery suite at hospitals because of COVID, so I was able to keep sane by listening to group chat in the car while waiting for the birth.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's cool. We got to be part of that moment.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Danny. And shout out to Bridgerton.
Yeah.
and your new daughter, Sienna.
He said, I've been listening to the podcast since the first episodes where you were giving away merch for followers on YouTube. I won a free pair of shoes, so thanks for that. Nice. Thanks to Anand for helping me get into Palantir early. Pete, go fuck yourself because I bought Datadog and it's been nothing but rats.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Datadog was actually my pick. What's it
Yeah.
at now?
Oh, it was at like
It's
109.
roaring now.
Yeah, it was at 109 the other day.
And you were in the 90s.
Yeah.
But he's in and out.
Yeah.
I'm in and out. I take losses. I take gains. I take losses. I take gains.
And then, of course, we have one from Rich Guy Anand.
Oh, perfect.
And
This is Satoshi.
Yeah. Said, hope you guys are doing well. I know Anand is. Damn, bro. My co-hosts are out here eating. People criticize Anand for wearing such big snapbacks, but it doesn't matter because he's rich. Jeannie Bust herself probably crowned that oversized cap on Anand's head. Anand is the brown Dave Portnoy. He doesn't care what anybody thinks about him anymore. This man is a Lakers fan and named his son Maverick. He's out here flexing on everybody. Anand isn't scared of the monster under his bed. The monster is scared of him. The guy who tried to rob drama would have left him alone if Anand was with him. Not sure why a thief would be more scared of a 150-pound Indian guy as opposed to a tall, tatted white guy, but two is better than one, so I'll roll with it. Anand now has that Chamath money. Who would have thought that binging Game of Thrones in record time would result in such a financial windfall? All those frat boys from USC must be punching the air right now, wishing they let Anand and Shah Rukh's son into their parties when they had chance.
Yeah, I would have got you allocation.
That's so good.
Congrats, Rich Guy Anand. The gang should celebrate with a 1,000-pound room on Clubhouse. Next dinner at Boa is on you.
Oh my God.
That's
so
a
good.
really good shout out.
That's good.
This guy's clever.
Yeah.
He's clever.
All right, guys. We will see you
Thursday.
soon. But make sure you check out today's newsletter.
Yes.
I got
we
texts
highlight-
that, from my friends, they're like, this newsletter is so good.
Yeah. So Chrissy does a whole breakdown on Black Wall Street
Yes.
and Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big historical moment that has just been erased from our history
Yes.
books. Like I found out about this when I was like 30 years
Yeah,
old.
for reference, when we were in high school, so 20 plus years ago, it wasn't covered. It's not in the history books.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
So maybe
Which is
it
crazy.
is today. I don't know.
Yeah, but definitely not when we were.
yeah.
growing up.
So
I've never heard of it.
So Chrissy broke it all down. So if you are a subscriber to the newsletter, check it out. If not, we'll post it on our social media so you can
Yes.
get the full background. It is a incredible story
Yes.
and really insane what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
But check it out. There's a lot of great tidbits in there.
And if you aren't signed up for the newsletter, head over to melrosestreetjournal.com and get signed up there.
Okay. Well, there you go.